With everybody showing up, we're gonna take the doors off because especially the driver's side door, I'm gonna be in and out of the car, and then that just creates the biggest traffic jam ever. So we're going back to SEMA mode just for now. Maybe even for testing the car. One of the reasons we're taking this off is you see this bend right here? I kicked the door open one day after the car broke the rear drive shaft, and it bent this one, causing this door to do where you have to pick it up and go in. And so, of course, my anger got the best of me for once in my moment, but we're gonna go ahead and weld a piece back into this to make this piece vertical again. That'll reinforce the doors during this race. Well, Andrew just did a really good job illustrating how well this is holding up. You can hold Andrew amounts of downforce. That's awesome. So this is one of the things that take me out of the equation, and I can't thank Fuel Tech enough. I did buy this one, but I had made a mistake on the threading here, and they overnighted this one for this very occasion. This is so cool. A lot of you were making fun of both my steering wheel and my stock shifter missing the leather around it. You guys suck. You guys don't recognize class and beauty when you see it, but I'll admit this is even classier. Inside of this is magic. And really, we could actually make this on here as well. It's the same concept, is that when I'm pulling on this, there's a force from a distance, there's strain being put on that metal. This will measure that strain. This is a locking nut, for those of you wondering. When I pull on this, this is going to measure a different amount of resistance, whatever the case may be. It'll translate to voltage to the computer. I'm gonna keep that damn gas pedal down and flat shift the shit out of this car. I don't know why this thing is so tall. The guys at Hollinger sold me this and I love it, but it's up there. I'm excited to hook this up because the idea is like that. It doesn't need to cut ignition because the transmission shifted so perfectly. But we'll go back into neutral and going into reverse. So you hear it binding up right there? That's because the teeth aren't aligned. You know, the dogs, they're literally called dogs. There's like 3 or 4 of them. They're either hitting like this or whatever the case may be. They need to get in like that and then they hit. So what has to happen is this thing senses, oh, perfect, nice shift, no cut. More push, okay. Send power to the ECU and, oh, baby kitty. So when you cut ignition, now these two aren't just stuck against each other, the engine shifts, you're in, didn't have to move the pedal at all. What's a traditional situation, especially with like an H pattern shifter? You go to shift it and it binds up. Clutch, you let off the gas, whatever the case. Well, nope, this is just gonna be ripping through the gears. I've got the brake one obviously already wired up for 20 PSI, just hit the brake lights, but I also have the clutch one now wired up. And what's awesome about this is only half of the equation for the clutch line. We're also gonna have a flow control valve, which I did on the 3-rotor to preserve the stock transmission and drivetrain. So not only are we gonna be able to tell when the clutch is on and off, we'll also be able to control how it engages. This is very, very important, and you'll hear me use it incorrectly on purpose because it's what makes sense to people. Is you'll hear the thing called two-step. We all call it two-step. I'll still call it two-step, but that's actually called anti-lag. Anti-lag is when the car starts retarding timing and throwing tons more fuel and you shoot flames and you build boost. That's actually anti-lag. Two-step means that you have 2 steps in your launching situation, and step 1 is, okay, here's the RPM I want to launch at. Step 2 is the ultimate RPM to shift at, so your actual red line. This is not red line. It's red line temporarily when you go to launch the car. So that's 2 steps in your, basically in your rev limit. So the way to trigger the 2-step is that, okay, when the clutch is in first gear, because we can now measure right here the gear we're in, absolutely, we know that we're in first gear. If the situation is we're in first gear and we have the clutch in, you know we mean business. That's the only situation that 2-step should occur, that lower RPM. Otherwise, you're gonna hit, what, say 6,000 RPM, and the car will actually hit red line. In its mind, oh, I'm at peak. Or it'll hit anti-lag, and you're halfway through your power band. So under the condition of having first gear going and the clutch in, let's only go to the RPM we need to launch at. We're gonna be testing and fine-tuning what that RPM and how much anti-lag, how much boost we wanna run at that moment to maximize traction as soon as we launch. That's gonna be one hell of a video. My heart races just thinking about that one alone. We're using one of my strengths, which is technology, to our advantage between shifting, between clutching, braking. We're gonna also have line lock, by the way. I ordered that last night. I just made it the call so we can heat up the rear tires more than the front and not spin out of control and hit the car I'm gonna race. We're using technology to our advantage to just extract the most amount of power of this engine and put it to the ground. Pause on that thought for a second. I just heard a diesel, and I forget I own a diesel, and it sounds amazing, but Isaiah took my truck, and he's bringing gifts.
I heard you wanted the giveaway.
God, the thing's good. Wired pedal, and it's
Primitive, bro.
I let Isaiah borrow my beautiful tube bender from Rogue Fab.
Borrow it, but never got a chance to use it.
Oh, you never get. Oh, that's so heartbreaking when that happens. Isaiah is back, and he's just the beginning of what's insane and what's to come for here. What we're doing right now is that the existing rear tires, as you know, would smoke on the dyno with all the power and squatting. And we have even larger ones. So we're gonna cut more of my beautiful stock FD body that's hidden up in there, take it all back, and that's one step closer to making this car just a full tube chassis vehicle. It'd be nice to just gut all of that, but it's a step before we end up going full carbon fiber, no steel underneath there, making this thing just a pure animal.
I haven't talked about this before, but yeah, so the doctor said
Good
I may
point.
never get hard again, so it's
What we're dealing with right now is if we cut a lot of this out, obviously the first thing you think of is that the tail is going to be very loose. It does tack in underneath the gas tank, and that's kind of the thing is if we reinforce those, we don't have to go hard on
yeah, you
on
don't have
these.
to replate it pretty much. Nothing else is really enclosed anyway, so
Yeah,
it doesn't really like matter, I guess you would say,
yeah.
at this moment at least. I'll probably just do a quick bar tack to here.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if we just tack it because it's like barely tacked in,
Mhm.
and then do the bars right there, I think it should be good enough.
Yeah. That's not going anywhere. I love it.
That was the worst weld I've ever put on this car. I'm not proud of it, but you know, it's functional. So instead of making like a million cuts, I'm just gonna drill out the spot welds and this piece will just come off. Anyone thinking of cutting their FD? Don't. It's a fucking pain in the ass.
Wow. I paid for all that space. You're helping me use all that space. Wait. Okay, now go. Okay.
You sure?
No, I'm not. I'll be honest, I'm not sure.
We got time, dude.
I'm really good at wasting both of our time. Oh, I'm already excited.
Damn, that fitment though.
Hella flush. We're gonna make sure this thing definitely can squat maximum ability. We're just gonna make it a little easier on ourselves. Here it goes. It's going up. Yeah, right there. So okay, that's right height. The car's supposed to have 2.5 inches of shock, which that's at maximum, not race car, but that's the way the suspension's designed. 2.5 would be measured from the very edge here.
Okay, this needs to come out this way and square out right here. Right? So that
Yeah,
way,
ultimately.
That way this could tuck in.
Yeah, so these will come out a little bit wider.
Jeez.
That's why the Rocket Bunny kit alone is, on the front is like 2 inches short on each side. The rears are still like 3/4 of an inch shorter. So it's so wide. These are also too big of tires. Like, in that sense, I would rather not cut it higher and raise the suspension a little bit for the proper wheel spec. I think we're right in there. We'll test it, but I think we're good. Okay, guys, I have to say that was awesome.